Before the time sees the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those people learning with wisdom. Before the times of the sees the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those people learning with wisdom. Before the times of the all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those people learning. Before the times of the sees the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those people learning with wisdom. Before the times of the sees the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who return in this wisdom. Before the times of the sees the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who return in this wisdom. Before the times of the sees the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who return in this wisdom. Before the times of the sees the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who return in this wisdom. Before the times of the seeds of Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who return to this wisdom. Before the times of the seeds of Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who return to this wisdom. Before the times of the seeds of Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who return to this wisdom. Before the times of the seeds of Buddhas of all those who return to this wisdom. Before the times of the seeds the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who return to this wisdom. Before the times of the seeds the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who return to this wisdom. Before the times of the seeds the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who return to this wisdom. Before the times of the seeds the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who return to this wisdom. Before the times of the seeds the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who return to this wisdom. Before the times of the seeds the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who return to this wisdom. Before the times of the seeds the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who return to this wisdom. Before the times of the seeds the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who return to this wisdom. Before the times of the seeds the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who return to this wisdom. Before the times of the seeds the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who return to this wisdom. Before the times of the seeds the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who return to this wisdom. Before the times of the seeds the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who return to this wisdom. Before the times of the seeds the Buddhas of all directions for all those who return to this wisdom. Before the times of the seeds of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who return to this wisdom. Before the times of the seeds of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who return to this wisdom. Before the times of the seeds of all directions to shine the light of Dharma in this wisdom. Before the times of the seeds of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who return to this wisdom. Before the times of the seeds of Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who return to this wisdom. Before the times of the seeds of Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who return to this wisdom. Before the times of the seeds of Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who return to this wisdom. Before the times of the seeds of Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who return to this wisdom. Before the times of the seeds of Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who return to this wisdom. Before the times of the seeds of Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who return to this wisdom. Before the times of the seeds of Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who return to this wisdom. Before the times of the seeds of Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who return to this wisdom. Before the times of the seeds of Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who return to this wisdom. Before the times of the seeds of Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who return to this wisdom. Before the times of all those who return to this wisdom. Before the times of the seeds of Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who return to this wisdom.
Before the time of the seeds of Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who return to this wisdom. Before the times of the seeds of Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who return to this wisdom. Before the time of the seeds of Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who return to this wisdom. Before the time of the seeds of Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who return to this wisdom. With holy time I beseech to Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who live in disease. With holy time I beseech to Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who live in disease. With holy time I beseech to Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who live in disease. With holy time I beseech to Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who live in disease. With holy time I beseech to Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who live in disease. With holy time I beseech to Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who live in disease. With holy time I beseech to Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who live in disease. With holy time I beseech to Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who live in disease. With holy time I beseech to Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who live in disease. With holy time I beseech to Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who live in disease. Holy time I beseech to Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who live in disease. With holy time I beseech to Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who live in disease. With holy time I beseech to Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who live in disease. I beseech to Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who live in disease. With holy time I beseech to Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who live in disease. With holy time I beseech to Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who live in disease. With holy time I beseech to Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who live in disease. With holy time I beseech to Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who live in disease. With holy time I beseech to Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who live in disease. With holy time I beseech to Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who live in disease. With holy time I beseech to Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who live in disease. With holy time I beseech to Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who live in disease. With holy time I beseech to Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all those who live in disease. Oh yeah.
Shantideva Retreat, Mumaji Sagula, Sakapatanare, and Shantideva 2.0, she did Yamani, Kamuka Shantideva. And the Kabum Yamani today, to be a man, to the unity Yamani, to be the 우리 얘가 심사에 이제 아무것도 오기 숨쉬지 마시 저자 몇 가지는 근데 우리 그동안에 우리 내내 로그래 내가 그 로그래 지나네 내 우리 우리 뭐 뭐가 상대 뒤식 이게 되지 우리 맞지 그거네 보다가 지금 개발하는 야 링크 저게 지금 빨리 yes 감사합니다. Indústria dele tarde chama por aqui ele é indústria ali isso é coisa indústria da o indústria da indústria cima da indústria mal certo de dinheiro o que vai tinha mal do isso então não do mal certo e lá que dinheiro de dinheiro 인지 말씀하신 이미지에 내가 수신에 이지나 수신에 오늘 그것을 왜 나라게 지시죠. Sama July. Sama campaign baru tadi bisa lakukan ni. Ada Shantideva Retreat ko dari kalane yung style. Kalau mau pergi ke sana, ina Shantideva Retreat tako ni jadi sama dengan cikin sih karena mau cek semua. Jadi di sini kalau tulis tanya belum juga itu kalau kita di sini nanti ini dalam nada itu orang kamu juga di sini jauh sini dulu ini aku jauh sini dulu ini sih tapi itu tadi jumlah shock tentang tapi itu nanti itu shock di sini itu itu juga pertama jauh sini dulu dari nanti ini shock uji shock ini nama tadi nomor mana last terlebih dahulu Nah, bos tak sih. Nah, dari kawal sini kita hidup sih. Nah, kita mengingat bahwa dari kawal sini masuk ke yang media dari kata yang sakti bang dari cucu buat tahu. Cucu buat ini mata ini kawal sini tamu ini bisa cerita cerita. Kalau bisa tanggulin apa ini, cuma tadi biasa sih. Kawal sini itu kok nanti yang namanya itu terus. Jauh dulu dari kami namola tak kita jauh risk chico mau nata kita tu nasi jadi ngata jauh dulu exam mau tu prospect ada jadi dia sukses di maju tapi jauh dulu debe coba di kulit sana jadi coba lo dia akan sote itu kalau tak bisa jadi ngata mau mola tak siapa mola tak kita pun jadi tidak tak kau mati sodero jadi ngata kau dia ngata kau jago temos pensado ini nada es pensado lava terkabo ini yale kan lava terkabo ya soalnya ini rewacu nada anima jibna imena session tuh session tuh ini juga nada terus kalau pangko sih haboi is thing nada yang cesar itu sebenarnya yang nanti jadi jawab lagi 3 4 5 6 dan nada pangko sih nada sama satu don't pedena itu terkabo nggak bisa terkabo bisa sama ini mampu tu kami yang tapi kalau kita bawa budget tu kita perlu ini nada kasa ane jimele ya jimele dia udah tak kesal jadi asal nada diri bawa respon mandat pun mandat page tu ada muncul jadi kan mah jadi ini dia lepas tu sih tapi dengan cerita sih nah betul
Oi, sai, chega, foi, justo, medou, já, virou, Sangha, chegou, medeu, por favor,
I have to join the battle. Can you hear clearly? So I'm very pleased to be here with very young, fresh, energetic youths, full of enthusiasm. A very special quality in Ladakh is all the Ladakhis, the elders and youths, they are very enthusiastic about Buddhist practice, which is our religion, which is something that we must appreciate. So, first of all, I would like to express my Teshidele. You know the meaning of the word Teshidele? You know how to say it, but you know the meaning? You know? Very good. You can teach others later on. So, this is important because from Jabal Chenjua, it says, Chue Shi, Dashi, Dashi Jung. but probably not the final answer. I may be wrong, but I tell people, I use the word main source of happiness. Small source of happiness can be many, but I'm talking about main source of long-lasting happiness. So my answer is the main source of long-lasting happiness is right mental perspective, right mental attitude, right mental outlook. I'm making big statements. Please write this down. It's very, very important. Because we are supposed to read the Bodhicharyavatara. I don't think we'll be able to read all. I will try. Because you need a lot of time. Because many of you may not have that very deep Buddhist background, although you are Buddhist, but in terms of study, you may not have that familiarity. So it may be not that easy. But here and there, I will pinpoint towards some very important remarks, something like take away. So those things you should remember, right? So I said the main source of long-lasting happiness is right mental perspective, right mental outlook, right? But still it's not very clear. It really looks, yes, this is correct answer, but what do you mean? What do you mean by right mental perspective? What do you mean by right mental outlook? Right? What do you think I'm talking about when I say right mental outlook? What kind of mental outlook you should have? Huh? What kind of mental outlook you should have? The right mental outlook is an outlook which sees the law of nature as it is, which sees the law of nature as it is, right? The right mental outlook means that mental outlook which sees the law of nature as it is. Not cold? Okay. You got it, right? I'm saying this because we get a lot of problems because we don't want to see law of nature as it is. प्रकृति का नियम जैसे हैं वैसे हमको देखना नहीं चाहता. हम तो जो मुझे पसंद है वही दिखेगा. You get a lot of problems, difficulties because you keep on seeing what you see, what you want to see, not what you should be seeing. You keep on listening to what you want to listen, not what you should be listening. You keep on eating those things which you should be eating, but those that you want to eat. चाहे चॉकलेट हो जो भी हो, मुझे इसको पसंद है, यही खाना है, चाहे डायबिटीज क्यों ना हो जाए. इतना हम लोग बुद्धूरा में हम लोग. So I'm trying to pinpoint to that direction. From there, changes will come. Because you can never rebel against the law of nature. You need to understand it and adapt to it and follow it. So what is law of nature? Law of nature is interdependent origination, which is so much taught in Buddhism. We are all interrelated, we are all interconnected, we are all connected to the environment, right? Law of nature is that anything that is conditioned or impermanent, that's law of nature. These are not invented by Buddha. They were there long before. Interdependent origination is written in the rocks, in the trees. Impermanence is written in the rocks, trees, houses. in you, in me, everywhere. But we did not have the eye to see the reality because, as I said, we keep on seeing what we want to see, not what we should be seeing. This is the difference between an ordinary person and a practitioner. This is the difference between ordinary person and a scientist. Many people say, oh, to become scientist is so difficult. No, it's not difficult. When it rains, ordinary people say, Parisha ke bas, finish. Scientists or people who use logic and reason, they will ask from where this rain came from, what it means to be raining in August, what kind of clouds are needed to have this rain, right? So with this kind of questioning, you know the answer. You are able to solve many of your life's problems. So therefore, I'm saying that the main source of long-lasting happiness is right mental outlook, which means mental outlook which sees reality as it is. ये प्रकृति का जो नियम है वो आपके चाहने से या नहीं चाहने से नहीं चलता है, ये तो चलते रहता है. If you understand this, your life will be simpler. If you don't understand this, you will create a lot of problems. For example, if there's raining, people who have no understanding, they'll say, फिर बारिश आ गई, छतरी तो लेता नहीं, हाँ बेकार इधर घूम रहा है, फिर बोलते हैं फिर बारिश आ गया. थोड़ा गर्मी होगा तो इतना गर्मी है लद्दाख में, वहाँ क्या करूँ. When you are complaining that it's so hot, will the sun say, I'm sorry, madam, I'll become a little bit cooler? Will the rain say, oh, madam, sorry, I did not realize you did not bring your umbrella, so I'll become a little bit less? ऐसा होता है क्या? नहीं होता है ना. आपके चाहने से नहीं चाहने से नहीं होता है, ये प्रकृति का नियम है. So therefore it is really important to understand that law of nature. Then in our regular life also, like for example, when the Buddha got enlightened, human beings and other celestial beings approached him and said, since you are enlightened and you found this nectar-like wisdom, please share it with us. The Buddha did not give teaching right away. He was different from modern teachers. Most of modern teachers are trying to find a place to give teaching for name or I don't know for what. Buddha was not like that. He said, I found something that is profound, peaceful, free from fabrication, clear light, unconditioned. To whomever I teach it, nobody will understand it. Leave me in peace. Let me do my meditation in the forest. He did not teach. For 7 weeks, after repeated request, until 7 weeks finished, he did not teach. He was saying that I found something profound and so forth and did not teach, which is true. What he found was profound. saying, I don't want suffering, from where suffering. I don't think that is very important. Because to study such text, we need to go very slowly. Even 4 days and 2 sessions is nothing, really, to go slowly, especially in your case, to introduce each and every word. So, but for a kind of auspiciousness, we read as much as possible. And then here and there, I will highlight some of the important verses. You should highlight and try to reflect more on it. Your boss, okay? Number one, your mind is your boss. Number two, you are the only original copy in this whole world. You are not the Xerox copy. Photocopy है क्या? Are you photocopy? नहीं है ना? You are the true original copy in this world. What does that mean? That means you should never look down upon yourself. You are the true original copy means you have your special talent, special capacity, special ability. It doesn't have to be similar like Bill Gates. I am saying this because sometimes we are so fond of imitating others. मुझे भी बिल गेट की तरह बनना है मटेरियल आपके पास है ही नहीं नीचे आप कैसे बनेगा आप पहले तो आपका मटेरियल क्या है वो पहचानो ठीक है ना जरूरत नहीं है so you should and one of the most important capacity that we all have is what we call as the Buddha nature. That means the capacity to become the best, the capacity to become Buddha. So when we say you have the Buddha nature, I'm talking about your mind. the cognitive clear mind, which if promoted, enhanced, can become better, 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 better. So training of mind is not like the training of the body. In the case of the training of the body, you train your body as much as you can. Let us say you are right now the number one gold medalist in long jump in the whole world. Number one here, gold medalist, long jump. Still you practice. थोड़ा तरक्की होगा, there will be some progress. But it will never happen that through this practice you start jumping from one mountain to another mountain. ऐसा आपने कभी सुना? The world's number one gold medalist in long jump is now jumping from one mountain to another mountain. ऐसे सुना कभी? हो ही नहीं सकता, क्योंकि the basis on which you are giving training is material, physical. So it cannot develop to limitless quality. But in the case of the mind, you can make progress to a limitless state until you become fully enlightened. पहले आपको ABCD भी नहीं आता था, फिर तरक्की किया, फिर कॉलेज किया, फिर PhD किया, जितना भी आगे बढ़ो, माइंड विल नेवर से मेरा 2 GB है, फुल हो गया, ऐसा नहीं है ना, फुल नहीं होना, अभी फुल नहीं है ना, right? So therefore you need to understand this. You have that capacity, you have this potential. It doesn't have to be similar like others. You are very special. Recognize that. And in fact, the English word education means not giving something from outside. These days, unfortunately, when we hear the word education, we think about somebody teaching you and you are getting something from the teacher. Not just that. Education means taking out what is there inside you, understanding your potential and using it. That's real education. Right? So education is not reading, writing, and mathematics. Education is human flourishing. Education means through that study, through that practice, you should be a happy person, harmonious person, peaceful person. If you don't have that, your education went wrong somewhere. Your Dharma practice went wrong somewhere. Right? So therefore, first thing I want to tell you is you are your own master. Nobody is your master. You are your own master. And also your own enemy. If you act negatively, you are your own enemy. So don't keep on blaming others. Just blaming others, blaming the sun, blaming the rain, blaming others is not the solution. Because the truth, the law of nature, the truth is what is outside of you, you don't have control. लाखों कोशिश करने से भी जो आपके बाहर है उसमें आप कभी भी ठीक से काबू नहीं हो सकता. Husband is trying to control the wife. Wife is trying to control the husband. क्या सक्सेस हुआ है कोई? सक्सेस नहीं होता है, दुख दे सकता है. हाँ? You can't control what is outside of you. So the problem is we never change ourselves, but instead we are trying to change the outside. Even in the case of practitioner, the practitioner never tries to change his inside, but only change the tankas and the chair and the room. बाहर में दिखाने के लिए बोले. Actually, for a good practitioner, जितना भी बाहर सुंदर सुंदर बना जाए ना, वो मोह का क्षेत्र बन जाता है. एक कोई का कहानी है, मैं कुछ दिन के बाद सुनाऊंगा, इस सवाल में देर में सुनाऊंगा, ठीक है? So the point I'm making is, it's really straightforward, really straightforward. You call it spiritual practice, call it Buddhist practice, or no, that's not important. What's important is you want long-lasting happiness. इसमें signature कर सकते हैं हम लोग. And the source of that long-lasting happiness is primarily within you, not outside. Unless you act, unless you do, unless you awake, unless you be aware of the reality, कोई कुछ भी नहीं कर सकता. So therefore, you need to be kind with yourself. You need to love yourself. In Buddhism, for the first time when we hear you need to love yourself, it sounds very strange because we always kept on saying love others, have compassion of others. Abhi kya bol rahe, love yourself. There's no contradiction. Now today we have to say this because people are ignoring themselves. If you don't know how to love yourself, how can you love others? If you're not compassionate to yourself, how can you be compassionate to others? Actually, the reality is loving yourself is loving others. Helping yourself is helping others. Helping others is helping yourself. This is called interconnected reality. समझ में आ गया? हाँ? क्या समझा? एक बार मैं डलहौजी में जब मैं विद्यार्थी था, स्टूडेंट डलहौजी में, मेरा पड़ोसी पुलिस का वो था, टुकड़ी बोलता है ना, वो है ग्रुप. तो एक दिन ऐसे गप्पे मारा था वो, उसने एक कहानी बताया. पुलिस का जो ऑफिसर है उसने अपने जवान को बोला, कुछ इंस्ट्रक्शंस दिया, फिर बोला समझ में आया? जी हाँ समझ में आया. सब कुछ समझ में आया? जी हाँ सब कुछ समझ में आया. क्या समझा? सर कुछ नहीं समझा. ऐसा तो नहीं है ना, ऐसा तो नहीं है ना, ठीक है ना? So आपके हाथ में है. There is nobody who will get hold of your hand and throw you into heaven. अभी तक ऐसी कहानी आपने कब सुना? Even Buddha cannot do this. There's nobody who will get hold of your hand and throw you into heaven. Your parents can't do that. Enlightened beings cannot do that. Similarly, there's nobody who will get hold of your leg and drag you into hell. ऐसे सुना अभी तक? Eliminate कर सकता है, ठीक है ना? लेकिन नरक में नहीं फेंक सकता कोई किसी का शक्ति नहीं. Therefore, your happiness and your suffering is in your hand. Don't cheat yourself. When you are cheated by some other people, you act as if you are very hard, strongly hard. You know? But how many times you are cheating yourself? Cheating means not doing what you should be doing. It's cheating. खुद को बार बार चीटिंग कर रहे हैं, फिर भी ऐसे बैठ रहा है जैसे कुछ नहीं हुआ, है ना? Cheating yourself. Do the right thing. Do the right thing. And the most important thing is make your mind happy. Okay? So there's one thing that I like to mention at the beginning. Be careful, time flies. Not much time is there. So we'll just make an auspicious beginning. Guide to the Bodhisattva's way of life. Guide to the Bodhisattva's way of life. It's not just guide, it's maybe meaning translation, but it means living the Bodhisattva way of life or engaging in the Bodhisattva way of life. So Bodhisattva, Changchu Semba, Chang, the Tibetan word Chang means purification. This refers to the Buddha, one who has already purified all the negativities. And Chuk means to internalize, refers to the Buddha. So Buddha is the one who has, on the one hand, purified all the negativities and also internalized all the positive qualities. So Changchu Semba, so what Changchu refers to the Buddha, the enlightened Buddha, who had removed all his negativities and who had cultivated all the positive qualities. So Chanchu Sempa, इधर लिखा है ना Sempa, धोपा आपा लिखा है ना, आपको पढ़ना आता है ना, सिर्पा नहीं लिखा है यहाँ, धोपा आपा means grave. Instead of Thopa, if there's only Pa, that means that's Bodhisattva. So when you have this word Thopa, it means the one who has this heroic mind to become Buddha. Because these Bodhisattvas, they are called heroes, because they develop this wish to become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. So now I want you to know one thing. What is bodhicitta? Bodhi is enlightenment, citta is mind, mind to enlightenment. Bodhicitta means mind to enlightenment. Chanchu Simba. Now this is Chanchu Sim. Bodhicitta is Chanchu Sim. Then if you say Chanchu Sempa, Bodhisattva, then the person who has cultivated bodhicitta. Bodhicitta is the mind, Bodhisattva is the person. Right? Got it? Now you should know this definition. Bodhicit, Chanchu Sim, the mind to enlightenment, is a mind wishing to become Buddha for the benefit of all beings. It's called Ligpo. The wish to become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. The wish to become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. The wish to become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. The wish to become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. हो गया ना? अभी आगे बढ़ना बोलना मुझे चाचू सिम का पता नहीं है. So what is definition of bodhicitta? The wish to become Buddha, the full definition. The wish to become Buddha, the wish to become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. आपको पता है चाचू सिम क्या है? एक एक करके ऐसे आपको जानना चाहिए, नहीं तो कुछ नहीं होगा. पोती पर जब मुआ पंडित हुआ ना कोई बोलता है ना ऐसे हो जाएगा फिर. The wish to become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. So entering into the way of life of Bodhisattva means the Bodhisattva's way of life is what? His way of life is not doing business. Bodhisattva's way of life is practicing the 6 perfections. This is what is taught in this text. 6 perfections, you know. The first is giving, generosity. Second is morality. Third is patience. Fourth is effort or perseverance, effort. Fifth is concentration. Sixth is wisdom. बस अभी रिट्रीट खत्म. यही तो बोल रहा है इसमें, किताब में यही बोल रहा है और कुछ नहीं. Bodhisattva's way of life. So bodhicitta आपको पता है. His way of life is practice of 6 perfections. ठीक है ना? इतना तो आपको पता है ना आगे. अब आगे जाएगा ना थोड़ा मजा आएगा. ठीक है ना? So this is the way you should study. हर चीज को ध्यान से पता चलना चाहिए. छलांग मारने से कुछ नहीं होता. ठीक है? So that's the title. So now do you know this verse? Chanchu Senjo Rinpoche Majipanam Kikuch. Jepanyamba Mebanda Hunu Pebble. Do you know this word? This sentence? You know this sentence? Chanchu Senjo Rinpoche May the bodhicitta which have not cultivated be cultivated, and may the bodhicitta that have cultivated further developed and enhanced. You know this. So this verse talks about the content of this whole book, Bodhisattva Way of Life. The first line, Jamju Simjo Rinpoche, the precious bodhicitta, that is of course the subject of discussion of this book. And this precious bodhicitta, Jamju Simjo Rinpoche, which have not cultivated, be cultivated. So the first three chapters speaks about how to cultivate this bodhicitta, which have not cultivated. The first three chapters of this book talks about how to cultivate bodhicitta, which you have not cultivated. And the next chapter, Nyamba Mejurjing, the bodhicitta that have cultivated, may it do not degenerate, may it do not decline. This is explained by the next three chapters. Right? And the last line, may it develop further, speaks about the last three chapters. So, to explain this further, in order to generate bodhicitta which is not generated, this is explained by the first three chapters, which is chapter 1 is benefits of bodhicitta, chapter 2 is confessing negative deeds, and point 3, chapter 3 is receiving that bodhicitta, cultivating that bodhicitta. And in order to make that bodhicitta which you have cultivated do not decline, which is explained in the next three chapters, which is the chapter on heedfulness, the fifth chapter on conscientiousness, and the sixth chapter on patience. Then in order to further promote the bodhicitta, this is explained by the next three chapters, effort, concentration, and wisdom. And the last 10th chapter is chapter on dedication. Right? Was it clear a little bit? This one. समझ में आ गया? जी हाँ. Okay. Guide to the Bodhisattva way of life. Homage to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Respectfully, I prostrate myself to the Sugatas. Sugatas means the Buddhas. Sugata, they traveled from peace to peace. When they were practicing, the path was peaceful. When they became Buddha, it was a peaceful state. Who are endowed with Dharmakaya as well as to their noble sons and to all who are worthy of veneration. Here I shall explain how to engage in the vows of Bodhisattva sons, the meaning of which I have condensed in accordance with the scriptures. So this verse is taking refuge to the Buddha, Dharma and Sangha. Respectfully, I prostrate to the Sugadas, Buddha, who are endowed with Dharmakaya, Dharma, as well as to their noble sons, means the spiritual community, and of course to all who are worthy of veneration. Here I shall explain how to engage in the vows of Bodhisattva sons, the meaning of which I have condensed in accordance with the scripture. Means there are so many scriptures, like the Kanda Yuva Sutra and so forth, which talks about the importance of cultivation of bodhicitta. But he's saying that you don't have time, I also don't have time. So I'll explain it in a single way. There is nothing here that has not been explained before, and I have no skill in the art of rhetoric, therefore lacking any intention to benefit others. I read this in order to recommend it to myself. So beautiful. With such a great practitioner, learned scholar, still you can see his humility. मेरे यहाँ कुछ भी नहीं है बोलता है, आप पढ़ना चाहें तो पढ़ो, लेकिन यहाँ कुछ नहीं है. There's nothing here that has not been explained before. सब लोगों ने बताया हुआ है. Even if it is something that is not something which has not been explained earlier, but if you poetic composition is beautiful, then there is a reason to compose it. And he says, I have no skill in the art of rhetoric, means composition. मेरा poetry भी इतना अच्छा नहीं. But actually there's a very famous Sanskrit scholar who read the Sanskrit version of this text and said this is one of the best poetry in Sanskrit. But out of humility he is saying this. Therefore, lacking any intention to benefit. So therefore, I really have no, expectation that this will benefit others. फिर क्यों लिखा? अपने यादगार के लिए. I write this in order to equate it to my mind. So indirectly what he's saying is if you are simply looking for new words, यहाँ कुछ नहीं मिलेगा. ठीक है ना? और आप पोएट्री सुंदर पोएट्री के लिए देख रहे हैं वो भी यहाँ नहीं मिलेगा. हाँ? But if you are somebody like me who really wants to make one's mind acquainted with this practice, then this is the text you should read. So indirectly he's saying that for due to acquaintance with what is wholesome, the force of my faith may for a short while increase because of these words. If, however, these words are seen by others equally important to myself, it may be meaningful. I mean, if you think carefully, I don't have time to explain in detail, but if you think carefully, his teachings are loaded with meaning. Because he's saying, for due to acquaintance with what is wholesome, due to acquaintance or due to habituation with wholesome, जो अच्छी चीज है उसमें आपको प्रयास करना चाहिए, बार बार बोलना भी चाहिए, दोहराना भी चाहिए और अपने दिमाग में भी बार बार प्रयास करना चाहिए. अच्छी चीज. There is a difference between habit and addiction. अच्छी चीजों के लिए habit, you need to form the habit. You have to do it repeatedly so that gradually it will become almost like automatic. There will be no difficulty. मुंह से भी बोलना चाहिए, शरीर से भी इशारा करना चाहिए, मन से भी सोचना है जो अच्छी चीज है. जो बुरी चीज है उसको दिमाग से भी नहीं सोचना चाहिए, मुंह से भी नहीं बोलना चाहिए, हाँ, शरीर से भी उसका उपयोग नहीं करना चाहिए. And it is for us very important to get habituated with these positive qualities because we are addicted to negative emotions. आज यहाँ भी एडिक्शन का बहुत चर्चा हो रहा है ना आजकल. In the Buddhist text, if you get addicted, if you get habituated with afflictive emotions, it will be very difficult to remove them with positive counter forces. It's difficult to stop them with counter forces. That means as soon as attachment, etc. comes, as soon as negative emotions like attachment raise their ugly head, तुरंत उसको थप्पड़ मार के नीचे घुसा दो, सिर उठाना मत दो. For the first time, as soon as attachment, etc. comes, Murj means Jom destroy. Why? Because if you get addicted, it will be worse than addiction to drugs. This is actually, I really don't want to waste time, but it's a big subject to be discussed. हमारे शरीर में how we are tempted to pleasurable experiences. हमारा शरीर ही ऐसा बना हुआ है कि किस चीज में तुम थोड़ा सा मजा आ गया तो उसी के पीछे दौड़ते रहते हो. Our brain is made in such a way. Our whole physical body is made in such a way. Do you think that the nature has made our body for enlightenment? For actualizing nirvana? Scientifically speaking, biologically speaking, you are not produced by the parents to get enlightened, to achieve nirvana. You are made by the parents, or the law of nature made you to pass the gene to the next generation. वही है और कुछ नहीं है. आजकल बहुत सारे लोग पूछ रहे हैं ना कि when we say that we have, abundance of negative emotions and very less virtuous qualities, फिर पूछता है क्यों? शुरू से ऐसे क्यों? फिर शुरू से ऐसे क्यों? शुरू से ऐसे नहीं क्यों? इसलिए है क्योंकि शुरू से हमको बुद्धता प्राप्त करने के लिए नहीं बनाया गया है. शुरू से बच्चा पैदा करने के लिए बनाया गया. Therefore, addiction to sex. सेक्स एक बार करने से बचा नहीं होता है. एडिक्शन बार बार करना पड़ता है ना? है ना? तो इसलिए on the one hand we have this strong attachment, on the other hand anybody who comes to obstruct our life, उसको पकाओ, दारू. Fight and flight response, as they say in science today. वो है. But that does not mean that you cannot become Buddha. Ordinary life is like that, but if you think carefully, then you will realize you are not an animal. Originally you are animal, so you still have those traces. But अभी भी आप जानवर है क्या? नहीं है ना? Now you are a human being. So that's why we need morality. गाय भैंस के लिए morality चाहिए, कोई नहीं बोल रहा है. चिड़िया के लिए कोई नहीं बोल रहा है. Human beings के लिए बोल रहे हैं. क्यों? Why? Because we have this very sophisticated brain and intelligence, which if not directed in the right direction, will create havoc in our life, which is already happening in the world. Itna nuclear bomb, nuclear warheads, more than 20,000 nuclear warheads are there right now in this world. Just to kill people. पागलपन नहीं तो चाहिए. सारा हुआ है बिल्कुल. वही लोग बैठे आगे नेता बन के. So therefore it is really important to have this kind of retreats, so that you are able to use your human intelligence and brain in the right direction. If you use it in the right direction, you can also become Buddha. You can also become His Holiness Dalai Lama, or at least somebody close to him, going in the right direction. Just one person, His Holiness Buddha, just one person brought so much happiness in the world. Then on the other hand, Mao Zedong, Hitler, again one person. During Mao Zedong's rule, 75 million people lost their life. 75 million. I have a list of all of them. Hitler is a list मेरे पास है कितना बड़ा. Yeah. So the same human intelligence, used in the wrong way, because of this intelligence, we invented nuclear bomb. We invented all the ballistic missiles. So here you need the Buddhist wisdom, because the Buddhist wisdom says you don't have to kill people; they will die. इसको बोलते हैं wisdom, है कि नहीं? See, the same way Buddhist teachings are saying you don't have to create suffering; they already have a lot of suffering. करना है तो ऐसे कुछ करो जो मजा आ जाए. खुशी को लहर दोने, वो तो हम लोग करते नहीं. इसमें भी लिखा है जो बंदूक लेके किसी को मारता है वो तो मरा हुआ मर रहा है और कुछ नहीं. इतना बेवकूफ है हम लोग. ठीक है ना? कहाँ पहुँच गया? अच्छा, some questions. नहीं तो फिर आप लोग बोले मैं गुरु जी आप हो गए। प्रश्न पूछने का मौका ही नहीं बोले।
Yang push mana saja? Apa itu? Acil cap.
So actually my question is that it's been a very long time since I don't actually know the real meaning of what is enlightenment. Actually, I've heard about that enlightenment is something.
What enlightenment?
Enlightenment, yes. So I've actually heard that enlightenment is when we know about all the secrets and all this, but still I don't get a very clear idea what the real meaning of enlightenment is, and is it the case that for different person the meaning of enlightenment may be different? And the next question is that as a normal human being, can we be enlightened? Actually, it is not possible to be enlightened in a one go, but to get enlightenment, do we need to kind of sacrifice all the things we run we before money we run, we look for jobs and all this to get enlightened? Do we need to kind of leave all those things and just practice the Dharma practices and read the holy scriptures, know their meanings and practices? Do we need to do this, or can we simultaneously, as a normal human being, can we do both the things simultaneously?
बैठे बैठे बुद्ध का पाठ करना। So enlightenment, if you strictly speaking, the word enlightenment is a degree. If you today know something which you did not know yesterday, you are a little bit enlightened, right? So in that way, we are all getting enlightened a little bit every day. But if you're asking the question, complete enlightenment. Not just enlightenment, complete enlightenment, full enlightenment, like the state of Buddhahood, then for that you need rigorous amount of practice, commitment. That is not easy. I mean, it's not just complete enlightenment. There are so many things in the world. Unless you work hard, you will not achieve it, right? So for ordinary people like us, when your mind is not very well prepared, as His Holiness the Dalai Lama suggests, is 50-50. 50% for this life, 50% for enlightenment or future lives. Kyunki, if you give up all activities of eating, money, everything, forget about enlightenment, you will die very soon. You heard Miller Eba, right? At Miller Eba's time, there was a person who was very enthusiastic about his practice. Then he said, I really want to become like a Miller Eba. सारा सामान उसके पास जो भी था सब फेंक दिया उसने, इधर उधर सब फेंक दिया। वो आसान है, फेंकना आसान है। 3 दिन के बाद उसको बहुत मुश्किल हुआ। He started suffering. जो चीज वो चाहिए था वो नहीं था। फिर उसने बोला, this man, not only he is a beggar, he made me a beggar. ये होता है, बिना सोचे समझे क्षमा करने से ही होता है, ठीक है ना? तो जैसे मैंने बोला था, the most important thing is transformation of your mind. Then gradually you will know how to go. Okay. Next question. Yeah.
Hello. So, my question is, according to Buddhism, what is happiness? First of all, I never was particularly attracted to happiness because I think that inner peace is more important, and I'm more attracted to the creative endeavor when you're in this passion sense that you can accept suffering for another cause.
So, passion, there are different types of passion. Many of these negative emotions are also passion. Compassion is also kind of passion. But here we are talking about long-lasting happiness. For long-lasting happiness, you are having passion to create something new, articles, or that will not solve your problem. That's the ordinary way of living things, right? So happiness and peace actually more or less same. Happiness means full satisfaction. Full satisfaction. ठीक है मेरे पास सब कुछ है और कुछ नहीं चाहिए हो गया because I give such talks all the time. People have difficulty believing me. So some people actually chased me. So they should always say, happiness, happiness. Are you really happy? I said, I think so. Then the second question they ask is, don't you live alone? Yes, I live alone. देखो अभी पर्सन कैसे पूछता है अकेला रहने से हैप्पीनेस नहीं होगा यही सोच रहा है ना दुनिया में Don't you live alone? Yes, I live alone. Still you are happy? Yes, I am happy. Why? How? Because I have a bed to sleep, food to eat. सब कुछ है मेरे पास और क्या चाहिए मुझे? Right? So I'm not saying like I'm really like completely satisfied, contented, things like that, but I'm pointing towards such a possibility of such a state where you are satisfied. Satisfied doesn't mean that you're satisfied and then sleep. You're satisfied, I'm okay, but still there is opportunity, I can make more progress, so because of that. Don't become stagnant. Because if you say, my parents earn a lot of money, I have things to eat, but मैंने काम नहीं करना है. मैंने सुना ऐसे है आजकल. वो मत करो भैया. खास करके माँ बाप का कमाया हुआ तुम ड्रग में गुड़ देना शर्म की बात है. वो नहीं करना चाहिए. ठीक है ना? So therefore, it's basically satisfaction. Satisfaction means what you say, what you do, what you think, what you say. There is no duplicity. Then there is satisfaction. बोलने के लिए कुछ और बोलेगा, करने के लिए कुछ और बोलेगा. लोगों को पता नहीं होगा शायद, खुद को तो पता है ना. Your conscience will not leave you in peace if you adopt a life of duplicity. When you have things to eat, place to sleep, there's no famine, no disease, so lucky. Be happy. Be happy. Once I was giving this talk, giving a public talk in Moscow some years back. I was giving talk something like this. There is an elderly Russian lady who got up and said, Geshe-la, your talk is very good, but an elderly Russian lady living alone, how can I be happy? I said, I'm sorry that you are living alone. But I still see both your eyes are intact. And I also see both your legs are intact. Both your hands are intact. और क्या चाहिए तुझको? दुनिया में कितने लोग हैं जिसका आंख नहीं है, जिसका पाँव नहीं है, वो भी खुशी लेना पड़ता है. हमारे पास सब कुछ फिर भी ऐसे लाचार बैठता है, जैसे कि आंख नहीं है, हाथ काम नहीं कर रहा है, पैर नहीं चल रहा है. So it's really recognizing and appreciating what you have. जब वो जल्दी से ये तो वाला Tangru Thangla Boyage is a Tibetan saying, he says, if there's no mental satisfaction, then the king, having the whole kingdom at his disposal, still hungry. कौन सा जमीन हमें कब्जा करना है आजकल हो रहा है ना दुनिया में दूसरा कौन सा जमीन हमें कब्जा करना है and the Tangru, the child of beggar, sleeping and living in the open area, but always singing and dancing. उसे खाली बोतल चाहिए किक मारने के लिए है ना so it's really like your mindset अपना आँख या हमारे पास सब कुछ है क्या किया लेकिन बहुत है very lucky imagine if you don't have the eyes don't have the hands फिर क्या करेंगे आप अभी ये सब कुछ हुआ है आपके पास फिर भी आप रोना रो रहा है ना so appreciate what you have but that doesn't mean you stay there stagnant right always make effort to make more progress okay next question yes
My question is that you said about mental outlook, how you perceive things and situations. For me, when I was younger, everything was easier. There's good and then there's bad. As I grew up, there's like everything is black and white. everything is related to everything else, like what might be good for one person might be bad for the other person. So how do you like? For me, if I'm in a situation, if I say something, one person might get offended, while the other person will be like, okay, you said really good. So if you like just be yourself, even by your being yourself, there are parts where you're hurting others or making others suffer by your words only, even if you don't intend it to. But that's just how people work, that people are different. So people perceive things differently. So in that way, how do we find a middle ground to stay true to ourselves while also not harming others? Thank you.
मिडिल ग्राउंड ये है कि मैं एक चाकू लेके आपको करने से आपको दुख होता है कि नहीं होता है सबको हम टेस्ट करेगा चाकू लेकर के he's different ऐसा नहीं है सब everybody will get hurt there are certain things yes there are different mental perspectives but there are certain universal laws universal things right if you take poison everybody will die ऐसा नहीं को अलग नहीं मरेगा ऐसा ज़्यादा नहीं होता एक दो हो सकता है शायद ज़्यादा नहीं होता so therefore we are talking about those universal things that's why His Holiness is talking about teaching secular ethics which has nothing to do with religion universal ethics means whether you believe in religion not believe in religion you may be even against religion but still you need some love some affection to live together. So that's needed by everybody. Right? And then also the different people have different mental perspective because of their upbringing. Their mental perspective not necessarily be correct. It can be changed. वही तो कर रहे हैं हम लोग यहाँ मैं आपको नहीं छोड़ रहे हैं mental perspective आप जाओ मेरे से क्या सुनना है ऐसे नहीं बोल रहा है आपका mental perspective है there's some good perspective which you should maintain some bad perspective you should abandon right okay next question
Thank you so much. I have a question about education. So education is not getting information from outside the world. You said that. And then it's not about reading or writing. And then what's important is Dharma practice, not reading politically or doing meditation or going to a temple. And then Dharma practice is giving up grasping to the life and change your attitude. And then what's important is right mental perspective, and which is equivalent to see the laws of nature as it is. And then the laws of nature is impermanence. And then I think that leads to the concept of emptiness. And you also said what's important is bringing out what is already inside yourself. So my question is, what practical action is what was according to the definition of education?
As I said, in order to get a job, because Buddha made a big statement by saying the world is powerful. The worldly beings are powerful. The worldly people are fighting against me. I'm not fighting against them. So worldly people, they say, we are right. They follow their trend. जो भी चल रहा है ना, बड़ा बड़ा शहर में जो चल रहा है, हलचल हो रहा है, वही चल रहा है। बुद्धा यहाँ आके ज्यादा कुछ नहीं कर सकता है। इनका हैबिट फॉर्म के ना चल रहा है, जो बिजनेस है, डाका मारना है, ठगना है, जो भी चलेगा वो। It's not easy. And the very reason Buddha and some of the sadhus, saints, left the town and went into the forest was when the towns are becoming bigger and bigger, all the nasty things were happening. Raping, killing, stealing, everything was multiplying. So then Buddha and some of these sadhus said, we need to find a solution for this. Go into mountain and think what is the solution. The solution is these teachings. Right? Right? So therefore, if everything, the things that is happening right now in the world, in the big cities and towns, if that is perfect, everything is good, then no Buddha will interfere in that. Say, okay, very good. Go ahead. Corruption करते रहो, ड्रग करते रहो, एक दूसरे को मारते रहो, बुलिंग करते रहो, एक्सप्लॉइटेशन करते रहो, वो दखल अंदाज नहीं करेगा। ये सारा जो गंदगी है इसलिए हो रहा है कि सुख चाहते हैं लेकिन सुख का स्रोत पता नहीं है, दुख नहीं चाहते हैं फिर भी जो चीज दुख उत्पन्न करता है वही करके बैठे हैं हम लोग। क्यों? We are a bunch of mad people. Mad people, if you really meet a mad person somewhere, वो भी उन्हें खुद को नहीं बोलेगा मैं mad है, बोलते आप कैसे ठीक है, हाँ very good, हाँ, because he has no idea that he is mad. So I'm not saying you're mad in that sense, but to some extent that element is there. हमको पता नहीं जो कर रहे हैं, हम लोग पता नहीं, गलत रास्ते पर जा रहे हैं, पता नहीं, right? So therefore, the only way to get that long-lasting happiness is wake up. Wake up. To really understand the meaning of beautiful dream is to wake up. तब पता चले। अभी तो सो रहा है। We used the epithet Buddha, which means somebody who is fully awake, which means we are sleeping. Right? तो जगना है. We have to wake up to the reality of impermanence, of shunyata, of interdependent origination, and so forth. So through that we will find the solution. Right? There is one line in a text called Lamachapa Puja. Sanje Thami Chube Matube Marum Yugini Rovana. Countless Buddhas had come, but they could not tame us. इतना बदमाशी है हमको, अभी भी बैठा उसी का वैसे, ठीक है ना? तो अपने और से कुछ नहीं करने से कुछ होने वाला नहीं. This is the thing. Did I answer your question? Little bit. Okay. Yeah.
main source of long-lasting happiness, right mental perspective and right mental happiness. And we also have a eightfold path, right?
Yeah.
Right. So, what actually means the right way?